Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Alion Mendoza speaking. This video is for educational purposes, and I want to educate everybody that's living outside of America, and I want to explain to everybody living outside of America, what it's like to live in America and why Americans are so hated, and why I choose not to be an American and I'm not part of this society, and I don't agree with anything that our government is doing, or I don't agree with most of these nonsense wars that are happening outside. But I'm going to explain to you exactly why these wars are taking place right now and for what purpose these wars really are for us. They're not for the average day-to-day citizen, as we can all tell. Now, this is a spiritual war that has been played through religious practices. What I mean by that is there are spiritual beings that come from places that were created before humanity was ever created. And what I mean through that this is a spiritual war not played out through religion, is that none of these religions are correct. All the religions in the world are derived from the original texts of the living creator. And what I mean by that is that most of these religions participate in religious practices, and though some of these practices might be necessary to worship the creator, not all of them are even practicing some of these sacred practices properly, because everything's been perverted. This is why religion is false, because religion creates this atmosphere and this veil, this concept of there needs to be a community for us to worship something. You don't need a community. This is why religion and a relationship with creator are two different things, because a religion means that there has to be some sort of community that all comes together and worships together, and they all do these practices together. A relationship means that you don't do anything else but what the creator tells you to do, and the creator will tell you to do things, and then through your relationship with him, other people will begin to start doing the same practices. But it won't be because we all have to do the same practice. It's because he's all asking us to do it individually through our own personal relationship. This war between religions is a facade. It's almost an illusion. In reality, if we were all to follow the rules of the living creator, we would all be living in harmony right now. But it's because of this fake facade of religion and this cause to rebel against other religions that the world is falling into turmoil, because one religion always wants to dominate the other through it being true. And I'm going to explain to you through a short presentation I put together to kind of explain how the enemy works through servants, through human servants, through anybody can become a servant for the Dark One. And I'm going to show you how he uses these servants to confuse the masses into basically rebellious delirium, is what I would call it. I'm going to take things as slow as I can. This might be a lengthy video, but if you dedicate yourself to at least given me the benefit of the doubt, then you might find this very informational. I mean, I know I'm not anybody famous or popular, but I do know a lot of things that other people don't know. And I do know how to backtrack, and I do also know that everything that I've been presented with might have half truth. Everything that I present, I believe, has some significance to a higher end of truth. And I've seen some of these things firsthand, but that can only be talked about. It can never be proven or shown. So you can just take that with a grain of sand when I talk about those things. But I will be talking about some of those things through my own personal experiences, which make me believe some of these things that I talk about. On top of that, I will come with scientific explanations via when I mean scientific in the technology aspect, meaning that some of these things I talk about can be tested via technology in the science community, and I'll explain that further in the video. So some of it is, you could take it with a grain of salt, and then other times it's going to be explained with technology, and how you can use technology to actually find out what I'm saying is somewhat valid to the eye's perception, and the way that electric magnetic fields are or frequencies are readable and detectable through electrical currents in the air atmosphere that can only be made from an energy source, which could possibly be a spirit. So I'll be talking about things like that in this video, and other things of the natures of reality and concepts that might be controversial to the average man, but completely believable to somebody already kind of distorted through what I call the fly's eye, or the fly's mind, meaning you'll understand that phrase later on as I go through this video. But that's just kind of an introduction to what this whole segment and whole video is about. It's about current times and the current destruction, self-destructions, I would say the current self-destruction of America that's taking place right now. And I'll be explaining it through this video best way I can. Now, I 100% made this PowerPoint, and it was originally going to be presented on YouTube through some kind of download I was going to put on YouTube, but I decided to do this kind of back and forth talking to where you guys can see the screen and see my face, so I can better explain some things that I feel like I can pause, take a moment, sit back, and explain a little bit better.
I can't do this all by myself. It's a big job. Big job. In every other world, I have shifters in strategic positions to do the work I would do if I were there. Work? I know. The fun stuff. Murdering people. What is this? That's not me. You're a halfway decent guy. Zip.
Now, this is explaining, as you can see, how the devil offers riches for someone's soul. In exchange your soul, you get riches. But I want you to listen to what he is saying and how he's explaining time.
But it's the other half that I'm particularly fond of. All the other Kevins have made this choice, and so will you.
No, it's not me. You don't know that.
I can make you a captain of industry, a king. I have 1,000 versions of you in 1,000 different worlds, all working for me.
1,000 different versions of you in 1,000 different worlds. And he's talking about time. He's talking about how there's different realities, basically.
Not being hampered by a combative spouse or some idiot supervisor on a power trip. I can give you a Molly who is exactly what you want. Who will do anything you want, be whoever you want, as a reward for working as one of my shifters. Come on. Let me lift you out of that embarrassing farce you call life and give you something glorious. Just say the word.
Now, this is a demonstration of, like, being offered in a different manner. Like, that was one way of being offered. This is kind of like a different way of being offered with, instead of having a bunch of different versions of you, it'd be you're getting offered to play in the Matrix, which is a different decision, but I'll explain further down this video. They're both kind of the same thing. If you get one, you get the other. It's you're getting you're getting a lot more than just one kind of reward in a way, but it also comes with its cons. There's pros and cons to the rewards you get from the dark side. Now you see how the staircase is mapped like a chessboard. This is because when the devil offers his contract, the Celso contract, it's him waging war against the creator, because you're not supposed to play with your soul as if it was just a mere object. This is your soul you're talking about. This is something very more precious. It should be more precious to you, but since life is kind of crappy right now, I can understand why some people just give up and want the easy means out. But this was a visual representation on a stairway to heaven, and ironically, as above so below, kind of a stairway to hell as well. And this is the game that you play when you sit there and you talk about a contract with the devil. You're actually kind of playing a chess with your soul. And then while you're playing chess with the devil's playing chess with the creator, because the creator is going to beg you to not sell your soul. But at the end of the day, you have free will. So your own free will is basically, you have choices in life, but with those choices come consequences. That's why I don't always say, but I just made up this phrase not that long ago, that concepts create choices. Choices create consequences. And I feel like that's a very good saying. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that before, but throughout all this research that I've been doing, I feel like, I don't know, it's just something nice that no one's ever said before, and I feel like it could be one of those kind of words of wisdom that no one's ever said before that could possibly be, like, I don't know, quotable and cool, maybe.
This is it. Let me give you one piece of advice. Be honest. He knows more than you can imagine.
At last. Welcome to you. As you no doubt have guessed,
No, this is him kind of presenting himself. And now Lucifer doesn't do all this work himself. Matter of fact, he doesn't do any of his work showing his actual, what I would say his actual self, and that's a whole different story. It has to do with bloodlines and old old scripts, old scripts that are even like older than the Bible, because the Bible is actually kind of a fresh product in recent times. Um, Morpheus would kind of be like one of uh, one of the generals that he would send. Morpheus isn't like the devil in this situation, but he would be coming to represent the devil in a situation. And Neo would kind of be like some fresh meat off the block, some fresh meat out of high school almost, kind of like a freshman, fresh meat. I guess kind of a good reference. But Neo the One, because everybody wants to be chosen, everybody wants to feel special, so they always make Neo the One to kind of emphasize this specialness or this uniqueness about him. And the Neo would technically be like a person that hasn't already been through this already, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people in America have been through this same situation, and they just don't talk about it because they're not allowed to. Because, like I said, concepts have choices, and choices have consequences. And when you go with someone like Lucifer or Satan or whatever you want to call him, because he goes by many names, when you go with someone like that, I mean, if you start spilling his secrets, there's gonna be consequences.
Yes. It's an honor to meet you. No. The honor is mine. Please, come. Sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole.
What he means by that is when the devil comes for you, or Satan, or whatever his army, his legion, his generals, whoever comes after you, they start messing with your mind. And like in the beginning of the Matrix, do you remember how Neo was getting messed with? Like, he wasn't gonna tell nobody because everybody would have said he was crazy. But he was getting messed with on a personal level that only he knew about. And what I mean about that is when you live in America, you're already surrounded by people that have already been down the rabbit hole. And what they're trying to do is recruit you to go into the rabbit hole. So most of the time, it's the people that you grew up with, the people that around you that you would call your family, your friends, your loved ones, that put you through this state of you trying to be crazy or you going crazy. And they're doing this because they're kind of crazy themselves. And I'm going to explain that a little bit later in the video. But this is why he said that you kind of feel a little bit like Alice in the Wonderland right now. Because you kind of have been played with mentally like Alice in the Wonderland. But like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a spiritual warfare, not a warfare on religion. So it was spirits that came messing with you in your head that have been living there the whole time. And they came and messed with your mind. And that's why he said that.
You can say that. I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up.
Another quote is the devil likes to use his whores. And when I mean his whores, I mean ones that have already been down loopy land. And they usually come as kind of the white rabbit. And that's why Trinity had the tattoo of the white rabbit, because she was Neo's whore to trap him in the Matrix. So that's another element that you need to be aware of, that the White Rabbit was kind of like a horror offering, kind of a girl that easily to sleep with. You don't have to really work for. Kind of just spread your legs and gives you a little bit of attention, so to speak. And after that, you kind of come back a little bit, and it's kind of like a tease into what's being offered at the table of his contract. So if you remember, Trinity had that tattoo, I believe, of a white rabbit or white hare or something like that. And that was a visual representation of how the devil will offer you a whore to kind of ease you into what's going to be taking place. And most of the time, it's after you sleep with this whore that you end up having all this, like he just said, you feel like Alice in Wonderland, that you start having some of these weird things happen to you. And I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of how it started for me. I ended up messing with some girl, and after that I kind of went through the same thing that Neo did, but it wasn't like exactly like the Matrix. It was a little bit more spiritual. It was a little bit more on this plain field of earthly experiences that would have been just enough right to make me seem like I'm crazy, but just enough to also me not just brush it off as I'm crazy as well. Just enough to keep me coming back and like, well, what's going on then? What's really going, you know what I mean? And that's kind of why I understand the reference of Trinity being the white hair and all of this. I kind of understand what's going on with all of this because I've kind of been through the situation myself.
Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You're here because you know something. And that you know something is, for the most part, what everybody around you would say that you're crazy. But for the most part, everybody around you is already crazy. And they just can't say nothing about anything that's going on in their head. Otherwise, like I said, they made a deal with the devil, and the devil ain't so nice when it comes to his secrets, wanting to be kept secret. So if you start spilling the beans on his secrets, there's going to be consequences. That's why everybody around you won't tell you nothing. But at the same time, it feels like they all know something as well. That's why he said that.
But you feel it.
Because you can feel it.
You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind. Driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
And that feeling would be the feeling of spiritual warfare actually taking place in your body. Because when you wake up to what's going on, at the time you don't know it, but because at the time I didn't know it either, but now looking back at it, now that I've had a lot more experience, when you're going through that state of what's happening, what's going on around me, you're going through what I'd like to call a spirit, souls playing tug of war, but your body's the rope. So that has to do with energy and energy manipulation and the soul itself. Because the body needs an electric current to technically be working, just like a computer needs an electric current. A piece of flesh needs an electric current to run as well, and that's what the soul is. The soul is the electrical current without the body. That's why that's where your memories truly live, is in the soul, not in the flesh. The flesh just kind of imprints it via the electric current from your soul, probably kind of like branding into your brain, searing the memories into your flesh, and that's probably how it works. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I believe, but at the end of the day, the soul has an electrical current, and that's what keeps the body moving. That's what keeps the flesh moving. It's the soul. It's has nothing to do with flesh. And now looking back at it, I'm thinking like that's kind of what you go through a lot in the beginning of things like this being put place in front of you. And for the most part, most of the people watching this in America already know about this. I'm just coming out and posting it, letting yous know that I'm aware of what's going on, and that at this point in the game, I feel like America's gonna be doomed, but at the same time, I still gotta get this out there. Otherwise, I feel like something might happen that ain't supposed to happen. So I'm just gonna post this out there and get it out there and explain to everybody that, you know, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows on the other side either. You know, people like me can become very aware of what's going on, and if like 10 or 20 of us came together, that's not good for anybody in America at all, because then that's a whole nother civil war. What are you gonna do, kill them because they're different? You know what I mean?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
And it's that very line that I mean that they're not allowed to say anything about the Matrix, because they can't. There's consequences. That's why he said that. Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about the Matrix. You can only live it yourself, because that's as much as he can give them. It's kind of a tease. It's like, well, it exists. I know what it is, but I can only tell you this much, and then the decision is yours. And this is where his decision comes in. Do you want to have fun in the Matrix, or do you want to go back to your 9 to 5? That's kind of, this is why he says you're a slave. Because at the end of the day, when you're born in America, you're not really given an opportunity. You're given a lie. And the lie is that you have an opportunity. It's the biggest facade. It's reverse psychology. It's the land of opportunity, home of the free and the brave. No one here is brave, because almost everybody in America sells their soul in high school. Pretty much everybody that I've known in America sells their soul at high school. So the brave, gone. Land of the free. Well, let me tell you something. They only sold their soul because their childhood wasn't that fun. And freedom is a joke, because last time I checked, everybody works a 9 to 5 just to sit there and either one, go to school, just to get out of school, put themselves in the workforce and pay off the debt that they went to school, or they become rich off of selling their soul, finding out the tactics of how to work the internet, and then becoming some big shot marketer off the internet. Kind of hacking the matrix in a way. So there's no real opportunity here in America. You can't just get up one day and be like, you know what, I want to make it. Because at the end of the day, the second you start wanting to make it, there's so many people around you that are already aware of what's going on, that they don't want a person like you to make it in America. Especially if you didn't sell out to what Extension called the game. And this is what the game is. The game is you could be anybody and anybody you want, and I'm going to explain that further throughout the video. There is no opportunity here in America for the average man. The average man in America is either a slave, or is going to sell his soul and going to find his own way out, or is still going to continue to be a slave and kind of live a TV dinner life. So the opportunity for you in America is none. There is no opportunity in America. It's either be a TV dinner slave or be a sell soul matrix slave. And when you become a matrix, when you become one of these slaves for the devil, what he does is, if you've been put in a situation to where your life was kind of crap, you're given an opportunity to where you have free play in America. You can hack the matrix and hack people's mind and set up shop for yourself to have a good, decent money flow. You can then move around in America. But until you sold your soul, you'll never be able to move around in America, for the simple fact that everybody around you who has sold their soul don't want you to make it in America. They don't want you to move around. They don't want you to have clean water around you. They don't want you to have healthy habits. They don't want you to have any of this. And they'll keep you in a state of bondage to where you have to pay rent and you have to live with somebody. And if you do want to get ahead, you have to spend all your waking time dedicating yourself to dedicating, you know what I'm saying? All your free time is dedicated to either working a 9 to 5 so you can try and get ahead. And the sad reality is you probably won't make it. Simple fact is your health is bad because of the childhood that you were raised in. Your environment and your health is already bad, which means you have brain fog since 10 years old probably, which means now that it's cemented into your brain at a young age, it's already hard enough to get out, because now you've been living all those childhood years with these bad health habits, these bad eating habits, and then on top of that, you come to realize that everybody around you isn't who you thought they were, and they're all actually living different lives. And on top of all that they did to you in your childhood, giving you all these bad healthy ways to live in these kind of no real parenting going on in the household, kind of just school babysitting factories, and this kind of free-for-all in the house kind of state that Jezebel has everybody in. It's really not good for a child's mind. And then they come to grow up, and then they're told that everybody around them is actually not only like not who they say they are. On top of that, they're constantly getting in your way and setting you up so that you can't go anywhere. So it's all like, on top of being around a bunch of people that you didn't even know, and then on top of them giving you all these bad dietary or health problems during your youth, And then on top of that, they don't want to help you. They actually want to step on you and pull you down. And on top of that, you got to wake up, and through all this bad health, you still got to wake up, try and do a 9 to 5, and try and make it inside. But by the time that you actually get your life together, because by the time that you get to the situation I'm in, this started back when I was in high school. It's been 10 years, okay? And the spiritual warfare hasn't gone away. Okay, my family member still comes to mess with my mind on a day-to-day basis. That's one thing. The second thing is, I'm still learning on a day-to-day basis on how they're trying to keep me down. So on top of me wasn't even aware of everything that was going on systematically in America, on top of that, I had influencers who actually stole some of my ideas, and some of these massive churches who have massive audiences stealing my ideas, not giving me any credit, and then turning around and telling people that I need to go get it on my own. And this is the state that we are in America. This is why everybody's about influencing and about me, 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 me. All these influencers are selfish. They're not doing nothing for society. They're not coming together and rallying up other influencers and rallying up communities. They're not doing none of this. Why? Because they don't care. Most of these people they're stuck in the matrix themselves, and they don't care about the creator that created the one that they sold their soul to. They don't care. Simple fact, and the simple reason why these people don't care is because they're crazy. They're crazy in the head, and I'm gonna explain to you throughout this video why they're crazy in the head. Most of these influencers in the world are straight crazy.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now he's talking about how deep the rabbit hole goes, and I'm going to explain to you how deep the rabbit hole actually goes.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Now this is what it would look like after he takes the red pill. Now the first thing that's going to happen is he's going to have sexual intercourse, probably with some kind of demon. After he has some sexual intercourse with some demon, and this probably won't even happen in the physical. It might happen sometimes, but for the most part it won't be with another actual physical being. It'll kind of probably be like having sex with a ghost almost. You'll feel being violated, but it won't actually the flesh won't be there. There won't be no actual flesh, but there will be some sort of physical contact. And I've heard stories of people having sexual intercourse with ghosts, and there are plenty of videos of that on the internet, of people talking about that. Whether you believe them or not, it's completely your choice, but to be honest, we all know what's going on here. Now pay attention to the way the screen looks right here. You see how it looks very kind of like when you're watching TV for too long, or you stare at white noise for too long visually on a TV. I'm not talking about the sound, I'm talking about the white noise on the TV. When you stare at it too long and then you go outside and try and sun gaze or look at something with the sun really beaming, and you can kind of see this in your eye, This is what I call the fly's eye, the fly's mind. And the way that he's going to be looking at reality now is never going to be the same. The way he's going to perceive reality now is going to be much like these TV screens in this scene I'm about to show you. This is how he's going to perceive reality all the time until he comes correct with the Creator and aligns himself with the true God and not the false God. I'm going to get into that later, because just like there are levels to the kingdom of heaven, there are levels to the kingdom of hell. And Lucifer might be the face to all of this, but he isn't the only one that comes with all of this. There's a pyramid, triangle, hierarchy, kingdom going on in rule, okay? And he's in the fallen one that went up against the divine Creator before time was even created, okay? Because all this happened before time it was even created, okay? Before we were created. He's the one that's at the top of the kingdom of darkness, and he's the one that sets this program up to it's kind of like farming kids into slavery. It's like they're already born into one kind of slavery. That's flesh slavery, and we're all born kind of like flesh slaves in a way. We're all born like human slaves, human flesh slaves. We're slaves in the physical, almost, in a way. This type of slavery is different. This is slavery on your mentality, the way you perceive things, the way you look at life, and how you operate. This is mental slavery. This is why selling your soul is different from selling your body. Okay, your body is kind of already in the slave state. You didn't really have any choice onto how we were brought up. And everybody has a different childhood, but for the most part we were brought up to have worms in our bodies and to be fed slop that feeds said worms in our bodies. Okay, this is most of the people's childhood down here at the bottom of the money scale. Okay, at the bottom of making money, this is how most of our childhood was we probably had some kind of sexual abuse, and we were given parasites on purpose, and we were told to eat garbage food that feeds said parasites. And then we were told to sell our soul, just like Neo got offered from Morpheus to go sell his soul. Now we're coming to what's happening after you leave your past life behind, your blue pill life behind, because he chose the red pill. Remember, if he chose the blue pill, what did Morpheus say? He said he was gonna go back. He was gonna go back to his 9 to 5. He was gonna wake up, and he was gonna believe whatever he wanted to believe, because the sad fact of reality is these people around us, after they take the red pill, they don't care what you think, because everybody around you knows what's going on. Everybody around you is part of the Matrix. Just like everybody around me knows what's going on. Everybody constantly reads my mind 24/7, and then sits here and smiles in my face and says things like, huh? What are you talking about? Because that's what they're supposed to do. Because if they don't do that, they get consequences. And they get consequences in these different channels, in these different perceptions of reality. And there it is. There's all the perceptions that he's starting to perceive right now. And he doesn't know what completely is going on, because he's going through all the different lives that have been set up. Because if you remember at the beginning of this video, I had a video playing off where he was talking about, I have all the other Kevins have already set it up. They have already made their... So when you make your contract, you're going into all those set U's that he has set up, because he said all those Kevins were working for me. And it was all divinely set up, but it wasn't divine. It was all set up by him. And this is kind of like what you're first gonna probably be going through is like kind of this identity crisis, because not every single one of those Kevin's lives were set up to be nice for him. You know, some of them were set up to be channels to where, like I said, if you don't do what he says, then he could torture you in those. So he's going through identity crisis right now. And he doesn't know who he is, because the person that he used to know who he was, he's still there, but he's going through an identity crisis because this is now how he perceives reality, and he doesn't know which which Neo he is. The movie's different, but you see what I'm trying to say with the other video clip I was showing you. If this was Kevin right now and all the other Kevins, you would see a crap load of different Kevins on the screen, all different outfits. Some of them not his sexual preference. Maybe they went through a transgender identity crisis. Maybe they went through some kind of homosexual point in their life where they decided to be homosexual. And this is what I mean by identity crisis. Not every single one of these lives are set up to be nice. And this is what kind of how your mind would be going through the rabbit hole. He said, like Morpheus said, do you want to see how far the rabbit hole actually goes? And that would be part of the rabbit hole, would be identity crisis. And that's kind of what you would be going through as soon as you make a contract with the Dark One. And this is the visual representation of your new god. Okay? Now, the fallen one, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, he is strategic when it comes to confusing your mind. Now, if he's already confused your mind into selling your soul, well, then he's already got you. But see, Lucifer likes to paint the big man up in the sky with a big white beard and white hair and white, sitting on white clouds with a white throne. Okay, this is why this man is like that. This is why, because he's supposed to be the Matrix's version of God. Okay, this is why Lucifer is, let's just be honest, he's a dick. And he's going to mock the Creator in every single which way he can. And since he was there in heaven, he has an idea what it looks like. But he doesn't also want to give any of yous a visual representation of what it looks like, because then yous would all disregard him, and some of yous would actually go follow the real Creator. So what he set up was, he set up this guy. This guy is called the Architect in the movie. But in reality, this guy is now God. And what I mean by that is, when you get put into the Matrix, your God becomes this guy. This white facade that we've all grown up to believe that was God in America. We all know what the pictures look like of the art. And to be honest, we've come to the point where we could honestly say it's a meme. This is memeing on the true Creator. Now, this is probably one of three people in, or it could be all of them at once. It doesn't really matter. In the hierarchy of the kingdom of the dark ones, there's levels and there's different generals and whatnot. And through the generals, his favorite one is Beelzebub. And Beelzebub likes to use women. He likes to use Lilith and Jezebel. And for the most part, Jezebel loves to be worshipped. She loves to be worshipped like God, and she loves to be treated like a queen. She just doesn't like to do any work. She's a real lazy broad. So, using that lust that Jezebel has, and that hatred that she spawns for when she doesn't get her way, he will use her spirit and he will use her to play God in the Matrix. And when she plays God in the Matrix, like I said, she likes to be worshipped. She likes attention. And if she doesn't get her way, she likes to throw a bitch fit. So she has a very God complex without the humble aspect. Okay, so she's gonna play God because, at the same time, you gotta understand these people know the word better than you. Matter of fact, they created the Bible off of the true living word, which was not made in English language. I promise you that. So they know the Bible better than you do, and they use the Bible and the Matrix as this architect guy. That's the visual representation of your new God, okay? And this is going to coordinate very heavily with what's coming down later on in this video. So this video is going to have a lot of playback value if you watch it from beginning to end, and then you go back from after watching it all the way through once. You could come to points like this and kind of compare to everything, because everything circles back together in this video. So everything in this video is going to have a lot of playback value. And the best part about this video is you can take one clip. You're going to be able to take one section of the clip and kind of like put it, if you really wanted to, just take the clips right next to each other, and it'll connect better to you. You'll see a better perspective, a better point of view of things I'm talking about as we go through this video.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix.
You see this cube that he has in his hand? It's gonna play well with what we're about to see. I would call that cube the Matrix right now. So after watching this little clip, I'm gonna let it continue, and you're gonna see how this is gonna coordinate with this.
You have no idea what's coming to you.
Now that cube, I use that picture on purpose because there's something about cubes that the devil likes a lot. He uses it in Transformers. He used it in the Marvel. He's using it here. There's something about cubes that's very, I don't know, something about the cube that's related to the Matrix, and I don't know, because I'm not there.
It's a bubble universe ruled by an asshole god.
He put us in here. Drink your vodka. How do we get out? They really drink him. Drink him. You can't leave.
That's a complicated answer. You can leave. You're just gonna have to go through a lot of hell to leave. But that's a little complex right now. I'm not gonna talk about that. But there is a way out. But it's through the living creator, not the false architect creator that I was just talking about. Because once you go in, you're given a fake visual god to worship. And it sucks not being able to to tell the difference between the two. because there's a living God, and then there's, like the architect is, that would be like the dead God in a way. So it's all like there's a living God and then there's a dead God, and the dead God is in the Matrix. And well, we all know there's only one way to get into the Matrix. So, and there had to be a first. So there had to be some kind of reverse psychology, mental brainwashing that had to take place for everybody else to follow suit and get in with the programming.
Lieutenant Cole, welcome aboard. Crew, we have a new member of the team, Science Officer Nanette Cole. Please, take your post. I believe we finally managed to track Valdak to an uncharted planet.
No,
Take your post, that is an order.
I'm not doing this.
See, now she's being defiant. She just got into the game. She doesn't know what's going on yet. This is, I'm pretty sure the devil has to do this a lot. He has to break him in. And what I mean by break him in, he has to break that soul that's in him, that fight, that passion. And that soul, that fight, that passion's in all of us. But as soon as you sell your soul, you give away that ability to fight back. You know what I'm saying? Now you give him full access to break you, because you sold your soul to him. Now he gets to break you in like a slave.
The whole thing's much better if you let yourself get into it.
You think that I'm playing along with your Space Force bullshit?
Space Fleet.
Whatever. You can think again.
This is my ship. I am your captain, an order is an order.
Then go fuck yourself, sir.
Okay. So we're doing it this way.
Were you gonna throw a fireball?
Oh dear. Can't see? Can't breathe? Unpleasant, isn't it? Do you submit? You won't die, you know. No one dies in here unless I want them to. I can keep you like this forever if I feel like it. Forever gasping for a breath with a mouth that isn't there. Do you submit? Good girl.
And that is why you don't mess with the devil. The devil isn't the creator. He doesn't have that type of power outside of the Matrix. Only the creator has that type of power. But as you can see, through technology, he now has access to the power of creation. That's what writing stories, and that's what fables are, and that's where all these ideas of video games come from. Technology has made computers, and the computer basically was the power of creation via technology. I mean, we got it in this kind of 2D kind of form, or we got it in this 3D form to where we can kind of, you know what I'm saying, we got video games, and we got the computer visually now, and we could do all this coding and whatnot. And the Matrix is basically a computer just on a more bigger scale, and merging the flesh with technology was the only way that that the fallen one was ever going to have the ability to use the power of creation that the way that the creator does. So in the Matrix, Lucifer is God, and I believe that's why even in the ancient texts, or if you want to reference the Bible, you can reference the Bible that it says that Lucifer is the god of this world. And what I think I mean by that is that we're all born slaves, but if you sell your soul to him, then you get a little piece of said creation, said the Matrix. You get to play God a little bit, depending on your rank in the Dark Kingdom. So it really depends on your rank in the Dark Kingdom, because he doesn't just keep this kind of power to himself. He also does give it to his higher generals, and anybody who's in command at the time kind of gets to play God over those that are beneath them in the Dark Kingdom. And ranks can be climbed. There's no, you know what I'm saying, the Dark Kingdom has it set up to where there's competition, and if someone has a good idea, someone has a good idea for the Dark Kingdom. Therefore, he ain't the only one that plays God. He plays God. He does some very dickish things, and then through those dickish things, usually physical, sexual humiliation and torture that are done on some of these generals in hell, then those generals do said such thing to their lower officers, and this kind of trickles down in the kingdom of darkness. And this is why some people don't want to give up their place in the Dark Kingdom and want to follow the true creator, because if they follow the true creator, they have to put themselves in a position like me, compared to where they were just literally playing God and being able to do things that homeboy was just doing, but to their own likings of fable in their mind. So basically, like, whatever they fantasize about, torturize in their mind that they find fun, then they get to do it, as long as, you know what I'm saying, it's okay. But this is this kind of God complex hierarchy that's going on in the kingdom of darkness. And this is why so many of those that are learning about people like me don't really care about people like me, is because they have this God complex, godlike power over other people that have sold their soul out there in the Matrix. This is why when two people who have sold their soul out there in the Matrix meet each other, you'll find out which one, if you're like me, an empath, is the one with more authority, because the other one will always be kind of like a dog to the other one. And you'll see which one is higher in command based off which one's basically guiding over the other one in a way. And this is how the Dark Kingdom works out there every day when lower end demons aren't doing what their generals tell them to do. They get their ass whooped in the Matrix because those generals are playing God over them. And this is how they keep order in their kingdom. This is why the Dark One's very good at giving people power. And not only giving people power, but making sure that people want to stay and also keep their power. It gives them a lot of good free range. And it does make people feel power, having that authority over other people like that. But that's how the kingdom of darkness works, and that's how he likes to keep his servants. This is why he says, I think I heard him one time talking through somebody that was demonically possessed. He said something about his servants do evil, and they know that they're doing evil. They know that they're going against the Creator, but they do it so willingly. And I didn't understand why he said that they were going to be able to do it so willingly. But now understanding that he's giving them the power of the Matrix, the power of creation over other people, like he was doing to that poor girl in that story, it makes a lot more sense to why people would be off put on turning, why some of these dark entities wouldn't really care to go worship a creator when they've had a taste of his power. You know what I mean? It's like, why would I want to give up a taste of that power that he has just to go worship someone that has it, and I'm giving it up? And this is the problem in the Dark Kingdom, because they're going to end up getting themselves hurt and still having that power taken away. So it's all like they're abandoning their position of authority in one kingdom for a higher position of authority in another kingdom. And this is the spiritual war that's being placed in America right now. This is why people like me are going to be placed at a higher statue than some of the people that probably could have had a higher statue if they just gave up their ways and decided to do the right thing, and that was take care of their kids. But since they chose that red pill life, they don't really care about their kids because they didn't care about their own life. And now they have God complex issues. And now they're in a deeper pit than where they originally began. And this is why I think it says that those who set up traps for others will be put in the traps that they set up for themselves. And that makes a lot more sense, because I didn't fall, and you're going to be stuck in your trap of God complex issues instead of me being trapped in a situation that I decided to say no. I decided to stay away from. Now this is kind of a little all over the place, but
I don't want to go away. I want this to go away. But guess what?
now this was kind of explaining a little bit more. This was kind of like putting everything side by side. So now you got the man who was selling his soul, you got the perception that he's about to be put into, and then you got what I would call a Jezebel. Now this Jezebel could be the architect, could be one of the versions of the architect, because it depends on which general is in control or in order whatever is going on in the Dark Kingdom. Right here.
I don't want to go away. I want this to go away.
Look at what she believes, and this is what I mean by generals and people who have a higher authority over other people in the kingdom. Look at closely to what she says, and it has the captions, so you can read what she's saying if you can't hear over these two. But listen to what she says.
Somewhere else. I don't want to go away. I want this to go away. But guess what I believe? I believe that I am God. I am God. I am my own God. What does that mean, you're God? It means that I create my own reality and I manifest what I want to see. Somewhere else. We're trying to have a discussion. Yeah, I am creating my own reality right here. I'm saying your discussion is stupid and it shouldn't go on.
See how she said I'm creating my own reality right here?
Yeah, I am creating my own reality right here. I'm saying your discussion is stupid and it shouldn't go on. It's pointless.
And that's what I mean by he gives his power of authority to some of his generals. This is a Jezebelian girl right here, and she probably got lost in because Jezebel is the spirit that likes to take over this body, and this body is kind of an offspring to Jezebel. So Jezebel is a spirit that doesn't have a body. It's just a soul. It's just a spirit. And this spirit has probably put some kind of memory manipulation when she sold her soul and went into this type of perception of reality, instead of just waking up in the bed thinking whatever it could have been, like Morpheus said, what would happen to a blue pill. She put herself in a red pill perception, a red pill mind, which made her mind easily accessible to be overlaid with memory confusion. So this poor girl probably actually thinks that she's Jezebel, and Jezebel has taught herself through the Matrix, through creating her own reality, that she is God. And you could imagine how crazy that must get with the perception of reality like that. And look at how far the rabbit hole goes down. It's just endless. And you could just imagine how that could be very confusing to some girl like this who thinks that she's God because she's creating her own reality. This is why you don't mess with the devil, because he will lie to you, not in one way, but like this perception, lots of different ways.
What you're doing is you're disrespecting both of us. You're just talking over us. You literally said you're God. And what we're trying to do is have an intelligent discussion. We disagree, fundamentally.
You have
but
an
we
intelligent
value.
discussion by misquoting people.
You know, and it's that sad reality that we're in. And I don't believe that everybody in America. I believe that there are some people like me who that they keep around as blue pills just to make fun of. Just simply to make fun of. Just to be like, look at that alien. But at the end of the day, they're so far down the rabbit hole, they probably forgot that they originally were like one of us. That's how crazy things get when you go down that perception. You might even forgot that you were originally like one of us. And that's why I said this was for educational purposes. And this is why I said I don't agree with the civilization in America, because the civilization in America caters to this and actually wants their children to go into a perception, into a reality like this, worshiping false gods. And this is why I say I don't agree with America. I don't consider myself an American citizen, and I don't even want to be judged by these people, because these people can't even see in a straight line. It's like I'm being judged by a bug flying in the air that can't see straight, flying in the cloud. And this is the court system and the judicial system in America. This is the justice system in America. They perceive reality like this, not in a straight line. So I'm being judged by flies flying in the air in the cloud that can't even see straight.
And spreading misinformation. It's annoying, and I'm making a mockery of you because that's what I deserve.
I'm sorry we're annoying you, but there's a real virtue in being intellectually honest and trying to air your opinions out and learn the weaknesses of your views and the strengths of other views. That's why even if I disagree with this man, I respect him. I'm glad he comes here.
I don't want him coming in here anymore. I want his feet.
The theory
of the multiverse, that's true. Oh yeah, big time.
No, this is talking about the multiverse. And I want you to listen to both of them. I put them both side by side together, because this video and this video go very, very well together. Because this video is talking about the same thing that this video is. They're just on two different fantasy levels, I should say.
Yeah, I still can't believe
I can't do this all by myself. It's a big job.
She's an alien.
Big job.
You're an alien?
In every other world, I have shifters in
have, like, other
strategic
aliens on
positions
this
to do
earth?
the work I
What do
would
you
do
mean
if
by
I were there. You know, fun stuff.
Alright, so imagine there are
People,
multiple
what is this?
versions of Earth.
That's not me.
One
You're a
where,
halfway decent guy.
the
Zip.
Nazis won World War II, one where
But
Kennedy was never
it's the
assassinated.
other half
one
that
where all of us are even
particularly
been
fun.
there. It sucks.
All the other Kevin.
You see how I said? A world where all of us were evil, a world where Hitler won, a world where JFK was saved. And then you listen to what he's saying and listen to what he's about to say.
So all of these Earths occupy the same place in space,
That's not me.
but
You
they
don't know that.
vibrate. Where
But
Kennedy was never
it's the
assassinated.
other half
One
that
where all of us are even
particularly fun.
The
there.
other half.
All the other Kevins
So
made
all of
this
these
choice.
Earths occupy the same place.
All the
in
other
space.
Kevins made this choice, and so will you. You see what he's talking about is the red pill. And just like I was showing you with all those perceptions and the way that they perceive reality, this is what I mean, the other half of you. You would be put down a rabbit hole of not only just your own crazy different timelines, but you would be put into other people's bodies, like he said, to work with me as a shifter. Now, a shifter would be somebody that sits into somebody else's body and plays on their soul, plays on their energetic field.
I
vibrate
you a
at a different
captain of
frequency
industry.
so they can't see
But
one
King,
another.
I have
It's like if
1,000
you can
versions
go
of you
fast
in
enough,
1,000
then it's
different
possible
worlds,
to
all working
open
for
like
me.
a breach and then
Not
travel
being
between
hammered
worlds.
by a combative spouse or some idiot supervisor on a power trip. I can give you a Molly who is exactly what you want. Who will do anything you want. Be whoever you
I
want.
was struck by
As a
lightning the same
reward
night a
for
particle
working to
accelerator
one of my
exploded,
shifts.
and I became a superhero.
Be pleased. Brought me to the
Now this would be the last part of the video that I'm going to share. And I'll just be right back. Okay, now this scene. Okay, now this scene is going to be for all those who have sold their soul. So this scene is for those who have sold their soul and just find me intriguing that I know everything that's going on around me and are just kind of here just to pique their curiosity. Now I know how the demon world works, and I know one of two things: that either you cannot enter this man's body because he's protected divinely, or you all have access to him and you guys are scared of him because he can tell the difference between the Matrix God and the creator of all living things. And that should scare those flies that don't know anything, and those that worship the Dark One, that they should come correct when it comes to the creator of the living world and the living word.
to the gate. They wouldn't let me. I didn't go in. I came to the gates of the third heaven, and they told me. I watched.
I'm gonna just let that
50
run. I
saints
probably won't
being
even be in the scene as
permitted
much.
to enter the gates of heaven, but they didn't let me go in. They said they stopped me. The angel stopped me there and says, "When I got to the gate, and he says, if you go in, you can't come out. You got to stay till he brings you back." I said, "If I can't come out, then that means my physical life is over." And you told me I could ask him. Angel said, "You can ask him, but you stand outside this gate and ask him." And so I did. I came and I was allowed to plead my case. And I was pleading to a God I couldn't see, but I knew it was total silence while I pled my case. I was telling him I reminded him of all my good works. I told him about all the things that I'd done, all the things that's what I was basing on my good works. I told him about all of that. And when he was never said a word till I finished. When I finished, then he answered me in a voice that sounded like thunder. Wasn't anything like the voice that Satan had used on him. He says, he started, I'm going to try to quote verbatim exactly what he says. "Your faith is dead. Your works are in vain. The life that you lived and offered to me as a life of Christian service is an abomination that I rejected in the Pharisee. What made you think I would accept it from a Laodicean type Christian? In fact, untold millions are living the same kind of life that you live, and they stand in danger of my everlasting wrath." Unquote, the living God. I couldn't believe he was talking to me. I'm a preacher, I'm a teacher. I just told him about all my good works, what I'd done, you know. And I said, "No, Lord, don't you wait, you don't understand." He said, "You didn't do those works for me. You did them for a false God." I said, "Lord, I worked for you. I called you Lord every day." "Yes, you did, but you never made me Lord."
See what he's talking about? Now, when you put yourself into that matrix, when you take that red pill and you put yourself in that matrix. Now, I told you that the Bible was based off of scrolls and scriptures that were not a book. The book was never formed until later. This is why I said earlier in the video that the Bible is actually a pretty new book. Now, the Bible was written on purpose based off those old scriptures and those old scrolls to work to coexist with the Matrix. Now this is why he's saying that this man said that he was doing his works for another god. Now I bet this man isn't doing them works for that god anymore. And I'm pretty sure this man had been deceived by the devil and had put himself in the Matrix, just like some of yous out there, and was was doing things for a false god. This is why he's saying he was doing things for a false god. Now this man has come out blatantly saying that that God is not to be worshipped anymore. And he knows what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these things. That they were worshiping a false god. And he should be thankful that the Creator came and chose him out of all people. Because I'm pretty sure he chose him because he was going to listen. And now all of yous need to listen to this man right here and me, because I know what I'm talking about and I ain't even there. You knows what I mean? Yous all know what I mean.
What a difference. To call him Lord gives him a title. To make him Lord.
Now,
he said, you didn't do
listen.
those works for me. You did them for a false god.
You did them for a
said,
false
Lord,
god.
I worked for you. I called you Lord every day. Yes, you did, but you never made me Lord. What a difference. To call him Lord gives him a title. To make him Lord promotes him to ruler of life. Who is your Lord? But Lord, I was serving you. No, you wasn't. You served a false god. Then he named him Satan's #1 selling false god. S-E-L-F. Instantly.
S-E-L-F. Selfishness.
Everything he said was true. Had he reached down and picked me up and dropped me in hell, I would have said amen. But I couldn't move. I'm laying on my face, in the spirit. I couldn't move. I couldn't move. They came and angels came and took me away. They took me out and let me regain my composure and brought me back and let me plead the second time. Second time, I never opened my mouth. Then he began to talk to me in a compassionate tone. As he said to me, suddenly I realized, this is my Father, and I heard him. He was hurting for me. The God that created all of this was hurting for me. The smallest insignificant piece of flesh that he had, he was hurting for me. Nothing mattered now. I didn't ask him for my life. I didn't ask him for anything else. But when this life meant nothing, he gave it back.
See, now that man knows exactly what he's talking about.
I didn't ask him for anything else. But when this life meant nothing.
And he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And this is what I mean. You guys are worshiping a false god. I put this whole PowerPoint and I've explained it to you the best way I could explain it to you with rational mind and rational thinking. And I did promise you that I was going to talk about how the electric currents work. And since we're already here, I'm going to take you down, since I am done with this now. I can take you to Alright, now there's this ghost hunting equipment. And for the most part, ghost hunting equipment has to do with the electromagnetic waves. Okay, now the electromagnetic waves is the current that runs through your body. That would be your soul. Now that electric current actually can be read through through technology, through modern technology. Now, if I were to go to Amazon, just go to Amazon, and let's just look up ghost hunting equipment. Okay, now let's just see what pops up. Okay, so triple. Okay, so something like this: ghost equipment, paranormal kit meter, and Omnipod paranormal equipment. Okay. Let's look at an EMF reader, okay, an electric field detector. Okay, that's what an EMF is, electric magnetic field detector. If you get one of those, you can, after that point, you can sense people's atmosphere in the air. You could, living, non-living, as long as it has a spirit, soul, it's readable through these EMF magnetic wave readers. It's basically just reading the electric magnetic field that your aura your presence is giving off. That's the energy that's letting off, that just lets off. So it can read your spirit, is what I'm trying to say. It can read your soul and tell whether someone is living or if someone is dead, because everybody has an electric magnetic field. Why? Because you're living, and if you don't, then you're just a piece of meat with no electric current. You got no soul. So that's explaining the science aspect of how to use physical technology to read atmospheres and spiritual presence in the air. Now, with everything being said, the current state in America is that of delinquents and children. Okay, this world is being run practically by children at this point, and it's real sad that we've gotten to this point, that we actually have to actually go to war to fix a problem that should have been fixed a long time ago. The current state of America is going down the toilet real fast. And there's not a lot of time left. Not a lot of time for a lot of people. And I hate to say it, but you kind of put yourself in this position. And I'm talking mainly to the generation of the 80s. The 80s and the 70s. It's your guys' generation that put us into this dump hole. Why? Because you let all your kids go to straight red pill. And I hate to say it, you guys had the next generation of kids. It was up to people like my parents and the parents before them. Because look at it from my perspective. I'm old enough to where I have a pretty, if you guys raised me right, I would have had a pretty healthy, youthful body, fit and ready for war. And I'm old enough to carry the wisdom and knowledge in my head to use it firmly. Where you guys messed up was putting it on my generation. Because our kids are still walking around in toddler suits, fresh meat in high school. And that's if I were to get, if a couple of my generation got busy when they were younger. Because at the end of the day, our generation, our kids are just waking up to what's going on, and war's right on their shores. Now, it's really the state we're in. This country is in shambles because the generations from the 70s and the 80s did not do their jobs raising their kids. Why? Because they let the devil raise their kids. Just like I explained in this video, they straight up offered their kids in high school to the devil. No ifs, ands, or fucks even given about it. So the 80s and the 70s babies, it's their fault that we're in this situation. And they don't want to take responsibility. Why would they? They didn't even take responsibility for us. How many of yous at my age are blue-pilled right now? Or were you just an offering from mommy and daddy? Ask yourself that question. It was their fault. It was their generation that offered us up like a sacrificial lamb to the devil. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No questions even asked. And I dare anybody from the previous generation to sit them and ask themselves, did they do a good job raising a kid? Because I guarantee you, from those two generations, they fucked up. And we're the ones, and their grandkids and our kids are going to be the ones to pay the price. Because they got to have their fun out there in the Matrix. And they had a lot more time with it than my generation did. And I didn't even get to experience any of that shit. So I got the fucking ass end of everything. It's their generation that messed. It's those two generations that messed everything up for these next future generations to come. Because those next future generations, they're going to have to go through hell and war. Because the 70s and 80s babies got to fuck off and jump themselves out on drugs. And that's the current situation of America right now. I love you guys. Be safe out there. 80s babies, grow up.